Where does it hurt? Where does it hurt? This could maybe feel like a very foreign question because it's not something that we probably hear or heard or have heard since we were little. And that would even be if we happen to have a really attuned, sensitive parent, that when we were upset, they were asking us that question. It's a powerful question. It's a very life-giving question. It's a scary question for many of us. It might go straight to the mental brain trying to understand what does that mean? I don't know. Where does it hurt? And the reality is that we're all walking around with pain. We're all walking around with unexpressed pain. I mean, I really believe that the world is being run by unhealed 5 to 7-year-olds who are trapped inside adult bodies. Not because any one person is more or less negligent, but because we just haven't, this is not part of our culture to know how to really truly tend to ourselves, to know how to take care of ourselves when we are suffering in a way that's healthy and conscious and present. How we tend to do it is to try to distract, to mentalize it, or to completely stuff it and override it and sometimes numb it with substances or food or work or exercise. I'm offering you that question for your consideration because I would put my life that there is pain trapped in parts of your body, those parts of your body that you tend to carry your hurt, that is really, really wanting to be expressed, that is wanting to have a voice, that is wanting your attention, that is wanting your care, that wants you to hear it, that wants you to be brave enough to listen to it, that wants you, it wants your console, it wants your presence. And we might sometimes think that we want it from our partner, or we want it from a parent, or we want it from that person that maybe we feel harmed us. And I'm not saying that any of those things don't bring us some level of comfort. They can. They also can often not live up to some idea or expectation that we have. So it can be not just disappointing, it can sometimes make us feel worse and have us get more closed. But in reality, even if we don't know what that means initially, we are the only one that can truly ever tend to us in the way that we need. I'm sharing this because I just spent 5 days in what I refer to as one of my healing places, probably the most profound healing place that I know today. I know there are more to be discovered in Mount Shasta and this property that I was introduced to in 2018. And I can tell you right now that I need a lot more time there. I can feel the emotion right here. I actually attempted to try to record this video a few times, and this chime over here kept going off, and I felt like it was telling me, just stop. And so I was about to shut everything down, and then I just thought, you know what? Because this very, the way I started this video, I started one other time this way, and I got, I think, a little bit in my head because that was me attempting to make it okay. Make it okay. Me asking this question in a world that doesn't really know how to answer it. Because that's part of my programming, is to figure out how I can speak and share in a way that doesn't get me outcast. And I'm being dramatic, but that's essentially what it is. We all have our versions of that. And mine is that being misunderstood or feeling misunderstood or feeling like I have to be a version of myself to connect. I think a lot of us feel that way. I think a lot of women feel it, whether you know it or not, are performing often. And this question of where does it hurt? It's a very powerful question. It's a very self-honoring question. It's a very brave question. 2 days ago, before I was on like day 3 or 4, because it was going to be really, really cold. The temperature was dropping, and it didn't look like there was going to be much sun. Someone had mentioned how close Ashland, Oregon is, so I decided that I would drive and check it out. And as soon as I got in the car and I was driving, which is very evocative for me because it's just the sky is so blue, and even in the overcastness, although once I got out of the property, it was a little bit more sunny, but just the shifting of the landscape, from all the redwoods to the blue sky to the mountains to the snow still capping Mount Shasta. It's so powerful. And then I put on some music and I just felt like this tightening happening here. And I knew I needed to cry. And it's never really been difficult for me to feel my feelings and to feel my emotions. But I do realize that I've stopped allowing it to be as easy. I don't know why. I don't know that I need to know why, but what's present for me in this moment as I say that is just probably my own kind of avoidance, which is like not wanting to indulge it, or not wanting to go down the path, or not wanting to get really melancholy and sad. And sometimes that can lead to me being unwell. But I did feel this, and so I actually was like looking for a way to allow it to come forward. I ended up having a lot of tears come up and have this awareness of this pain that I'm still feeling around my mother's passing, and how I interpreted her, and the story that I held about her and her life, and how I chose to relate with her in her life from a very, very young age. And how, even though from an analytical, mental perspective, I really understand that it was a story, and I really understand that it was not my job to make her happy, I still feel a lot of emotion that I didn't get to be successful in helping her in that way, in the way that I believed that was available for her, in the idea that I unconsciously decided that was something that I could do. It was a relentless force within me my entire life. And there's so much there that I don't want to unpack right now, because I think I will cry, and I don't know that I want to do that right now, but also because it's a much more deeper video and unfolding, and I still feel like I'm building this channel and this rapport, and I don't need to be indulgent. I don't want what I'm sharing to really be real and authentic, but also to be of service to you. So I think I'll just focus in on that question of, where does it hurt? And the reason why I feel so compelled to bring that here is because I feel like every day I'm learning about at least one, if not many, stories of people and of women that are feeling or experiencing an unfulfilled life, or feeling trapped, or feeling stuck. And everyone has their own story, their own path, their own unfolding. So it's not like a template that it's this way or that way. There are a lot of themes I think women experience. And if we were to start to ask ourselves, where does it hurt? Not only is there power in that expression, in that release, but there's insight and wisdom. I mean, I personally have already had so many little mini ahas. I didn't even realize I was still feeling sad about not being successful and being able to help my mom. And the emotion that comes forward, even as I say it, it's here until it's not. And it's been my experience that when things feel like they've been expressed, the energy moves. I'm just present to a story I heard earlier today about somebody who's really struggling. And what's powerful and challenging about the struggles that we can get into is that the experience is happening, but it's really also the impact of it, how it impacts our self-confidence, how it impacts our self-belief, how it impacts us knowing what's clear. Oh my God. As I said, I feel like I'm getting messages from these chimes because they seem to get more loud as I share. So I'll leave it at that for now. It's just something I'm offering for your consideration. I very much know the power of being able to be in dialogue with ourselves, and that so much of what we're going through often is just like one expression away from whatever, whether it's the healing, the awareness, the release, the freedom. So that's my question for you. As I make my way off of this solo spiritual pilgrimage I took to my healing place, Mount Shasta, it's a question I'm bravely allowing myself to be with. So I offer it to you for your consideration. And if this caught you and you're still listening, then I have a feeling there's a wise presence in you right now that is not only ready for this, but seeking it. My name is Jennifer Herrera. Thank you for being with me, and I will see you tomorrow.